Well, hello and welcome to Monson Made This. My name is Michael and I cook vegan food, so if you're interested in that, definitely click the subscribe button below and give this video a thumbs up while you're down there. Also, I just have been approved for channel membership, so if you see a join button down there, you can definitely click that. That's another way to help support this channel. And I do have a Patreon, which is linked below as well, but if you want to watch the Monson Ate This videos, those are going to be on my channel membership as well. So check out the join button and see what fun things are available there. Today's video is super easy. I just said I cook vegan food, but today I'm not cooking anything. It's actually gonna be a no-cook, no-bake dessert recipe. I'm making what I'm calling Freezecakes, key lime Freezecakes. And they're really simple, only about 5-ish ingredients. We're gonna be making a crust out of golden Oreos. You could use whatever flavor of Oreo that you like. The base of the Freezecake, which is sort of like a cheesecake, is gonna be made with this sweetened condensed coconut milk and this vegan cream cheese. I'll also be adding some lime juice and lime zest to give it that key lime flavor, and just a little bit of vanilla. If you haven't tried this sweetened condensed coconut milk, it is incredible. I could literally eat this with a spoon. A little bit more difficult to find. I know that there's a lot of vegan cream cheeses on the market. They should all work for this. This one, you need to look at places like Sprouts or Natural Grocers or Whole Foods. They will have that. You could also order it online. This is gonna come together really quickly, which is why I'm doing it this style of video, which we were initially gonna be calling One Take Wednesdays, but we haven't been getting them out on Wednesdays. So I'm going to be blending up the Oreos in here, and that's the only thing that's gonna be in the crust. I'm gonna be pressing that into these little silicone muffin cup things. This recipe does make a dozen, but I'm gonna just be making 6, and I'll show you what the final product looks like later. I'm also gonna experiment and see if I can make little like pudding pops with them. We'll see. So you need some type of muffin cup liner. You could use the paper ones or parchment paper ones. I'm using silicone ones. It's just easier and reuse them. So I'm gonna start by blending up the cookies. Food processor is nice, but you could just use a bag and a rolling pin. So give me just a second to blitz these up. Almost there. So if you didn't want to use, I think that's okay. If you didn't want to use Oreos, if you were trying to avoid palm oil, you could just use a like vegan graham cracker, find one without honey, or they even have gluten-free ones that don't have honey in them, so you could use those. The nice thing about using Oreos, however, is that the cream inside, which you might even want to get the double stuffed ones, but the cream inside is what holds the crumbs together so that you don't have to add any extra vegan butter or anything like that. You just basically spoon the crumbs into your little muffin cups, press them down, and you have a crust. You want to use probably, say if you're making a dozen of these, which is what the recipe makes, I would say about 14 Oreos would be enough for that. It's going to be just about 1 Oreo per serving. And I'd say about like a heaping 1 tablespoon is a good amount. You could press it in with your fingers. I find that using another one of these little silicone muffin cup liners works really well. Just kind of stick it into the cup. Move that so you can see a little bit better. But if you just stick it into the cup, press down around, you get a really nice, even, solid crust base. You could add a little bit more if you wanted. I think that this is a perfect amount. Also, I've tried this with a few different flavors. I do have a mint one in the freezer that I'll show you in a minute, and that's in a full pie. So you could make this as a full cheesecake style pie if you wanted, if you didn't want to do individual little muffin things. I like the individual ones. It's just easier to serve and to eat, and it's pre-portioned for you. And I think it's just a lot easier getting the crust into these little cups than it is into a big pie plate. But the one I have in the freezer is like a mint chip one. So I use the mint Oreos, these. I use the mint Oreos as the crust. I made the base, which you'll see in just a moment, this pretty much the same way, but I added a teaspoon of mint extract to it. And that made it sort of like a mint chip flavor. Okay, so these are good to go. I'm just gonna set these aside and let's make the base. So really simple here. We're gonna start with the cream cheese. I'm going to use Miyoko's. It was on sale at Sprouts when I was buying ingredients. Trader Joe's, I think, has the least expensive one if you're trying to save a couple bucks. This isn't the least expensive of recipes. I do have to admit these specialty vegan products are a little bit on the spendier side, but you get 12 desserts, so I think it pays for itself. I have another cheesecake type video on my channel, which is a blueberry cheesecake, and that one is a little bit more in your like whole food ingredients. It does have a lot of coconut oil in it, but if you were looking for something that was more cashews, nuts, that type of recipe, I'll have it linked above, but that's the recipe that you want because this one's just a quick and easy version that has a little bit more kind of processed ingredients. So using a hand mixer, you could just use a fork, you could use a whisk. I'm just gonna break this down a little bit. All right, and then I'm going to add the sweetened condensed coconut milk. I don't want to lose or waste any of this. If you're wondering where I came up with this recipe, where did this come from, or this reminds you of something you may have had as a child, the last holiday season, Ben, my partner and the one who's usually behind the camera, his family was in town and his mom made Ben's favorite cheesecake. She's like, oh, I bet you could make a vegan version. It's basically just cream cheese, sweetened condensed milk, and lemon juice. So I didn't get to taste it there at the holiday, even though everyone else ate it. I'm adding just a pinch of salt too. But I had that in my mind, like, you know what? I probably could veganize this because I know a really great Nature's Charm, sweetened condensed coconut milk. There's great vegan cream cheeses. As long as I can swap out those two ingredients, it'll work well. So let me just blend these together. I like to add a little bit of air into mine. Like I like to beat it a little bit so that it is a little bit fluffier. I think that helps the final texture, but it's not necessary to beat it like I am. I think it adds a little bit, but by no means do you need to go buy a hand mixer to make this recipe. So that's pretty much it for the base portion, except for the acid part of it. Now, the original recipe that Ben's mom had made was made with lemons, and it was just maybe more of like a traditional kind of cheesecake flavor. Mine, though, because I played with, like I told you, I have like a mint one in the freezer, I decided to try a key lime flavor, and to me, that has been my favorite so far. So to get the most lime flavor here, I'm going to be zesting 1 whole lime, and then we need a 1/3 cup of the lime juice, which I just realized I've got everything out here looking so nice, so ready to go, and I forgot to grab a knife. Whatever. So I'm gonna just take the zest of 1 whole lime here. If you wanted to do orange flavor, like orange creamsicle flavor, you could definitely do this. You would just need oranges instead of limes. In terms of juicing it, I'll talk to you while I'm grabbing a knife here. I like this juicer here. The focus is on my face. There we go. I like this juicer here. I got it at a thrift store. And I do have the traditional like squeeze kind, like they use for, you know, like the squeeze lemon juicers. And I used those for quite a while. And I always thought that was the best way to juice. But since I bought this glass, like reamer style one, I have to say, I prefer this method. I feel like I get a lot more yield from my limes and lemons or oranges. I never felt like the press style got everything. So this little $2 purchase from Goodwill has been my favorite juicer lately. I think it's going to be about 1.5 limes that we need. I do have a measuring cup here though, just to measure. So I need a 1/3 cup. We're almost there. I want it to be quite limey, so I'm going to add another half. but 1.5 should be what you aim for. Limes are stingy sometimes. You never know what you're gonna get out of a lime. But for this, the more the merrier. All right. Lime juice goes in here. And I'm gonna save this measuring cup because I'm gonna use that to help me fill the muffin cups. Gonna blend this just one more moment. And that's it. Smells incredible. Smells just like key lime pie, cheesecake. That's kind of what it is. So I'm gonna pour this into my measuring cup as much as I can. I have a little bit left. And this is just to help me pour it. All right, here I have my 6. Again, this makes a dozen. And I'm gonna fill these up to the very top. They're not gonna rise in the oven or anything because, well, they're not baking. So, get them all the way to the top. To top these, you could use like a coconut whipped cream. That one's gonna make a mess. You could use a coconut whipped cream. I actually have some canned cherry pie filling, and that's what I'm gonna be using. Let's attempt these popsicle molds. You'll know that these work if you see pictures on Instagram of these. And I'll make one more with the remaining stuff. Promise I'm not wasting this. All right, put these in. And now all this can go into the freezer, and I'm gonna swap out the ones that I already have done. All right, let's look at the finished product here. Got a little bit of a mess, but that's fine. I had a little bit extra on one of the test batches that I made. So I put it into this little heart mold. You could do that as well if you didn't want to use the basic circle ones. Here's a plate. And this is why the silicone is so nice. Pop it out like that. This is some cherry pie filling that just came out of a can. And that is it. Might want to add a little bit of lime zest to the top, but we have this really cute, no bake, delicious, easy key lime, cherry, what I'm calling freeze cake. I'm going to give this a little bit of a taste. And if you do want to see the rest of the eating experience, definitely click that join button, the join button to watch the Monson Ate This videos, or follow the link below to the Patreon, patreon.com/monsonmadethis. And you can just see how easy this cuts right out of the freezer. I love these. That's it. Thank you for watching. I've got some little cheese or freeze cakes to eat. I've got a mess to clean up. Appreciate you all being here. Definitely click the subscribe button below if you haven't yet already. Join, help support this channel. I appreciate all of you that have already helped me with this channel over on Patreon. It means a ton, so thank you very, very much. And I'll see you next time with a brand new recipe video. Bye. Just kidding. I promised I would show you the full pie version. Not so pretty, but this is using the full pie, and this is the like mint chip flavor. So it's the mint Oreos, and it has mint extract with lemon juice inside of the filling. So if you wanted to try that one, I'll have that recipe also on monsonmadethis.com. So thank you, bye.